All right. Gabriel's coming in as my brother, Coventry. Okay, great. 7:33. So Rabbi Abi, if you would kick us off, and if more people come in, I'll be able to let them in.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Beit Abulafia. We're glad to be hosting, and glad to have you all come back and join us for what will be hopefully a meaningful evening of conversation. So, welcome back, everyone, and I turn it over to you, Jason and Shoshana.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome, as Rabbi said, to another wonderful session. We are super excited to welcome Rabbi Daniel Bortz, to our program today. And I feel like this actually, Jason, is super fitting as we approach Rosh Hashanah in like less than a week right now. And what's going to come out of this is going to be really mindful as we go forward in just a few days. So timing is awesome.
Absolutely.
So welcome, everybody. Jason, I think we can go ahead and get this one kicked off with you. And then Rabbi, we want you to sort of jump in too. People have different paths and journeys that they take in order to get anywhere in life. And that includes followers and readers and people who are enjoying Abulafia's teachings and learnings and everything that we can take away from him. So Jason, I'm hoping that you can sort of share with us some of your background about your journey getting to where you are.
Okay, great. I want to thank Rabbi Abi and Memphis Jewish Community Center and the Center for Jewish Living and Learning. And Rabbi Daniel Bortz is on. This is very exciting to have you. I just want to be brief to kick it off that who's been on this call has been used to the idea of my discovery of Rabbi Abraham Abulafia and jazz music pedagogy, essentially, and how the manuals line up. So this was a big breakthrough for me. And we've had great legendary jazz artists on who have had conversations with me beforehand and then said, oh, that'd be interesting to kind of use Abulafia as a springboard. And I'm really fascinated by this rabbi, and I'll talk about my life in jazz. What's really great about tonight is we have someone who's very highly trained in rabbinics and Chassidut and Jewish mysticism and has also found a path to Abulafia. So concluding my remarks, I would say that I started out at 18 going through Judaism on the Orthodox level of Chabad and Breslov and modern Orthodox and Sephardic, and they're all really beautiful. But I did keep looking. And I did find Abulafia in a way that made me think, oh, this just is fantastic. So what's really exciting about Rabbi Daniel Bortz, we'll turn it over to you, Rabbi Bortz, is you actually took the physical journey of Abulafia and have your own path. So I think what we'd all love to hear from you is your personal journey. There's mixed martial arts and there's world travel and making a movie and leading meditation classes. So if we could turn it over to you and hear about your journey and coming to Abulafia.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me on and the Memphis community and everybody. Where do I start? I had many of us as teenagers have journeys that we go through trying to figure out who we are. And around 16 or 17, I had I would say, spiritual experience where I felt for the first time connected to something more, something greater. I was with my father in synagogue in San Diego, California, and I was going through a lot, and it was the Shabbat prayers, and I felt a connection, and that connection led me to learn more about our heritage, and on my own, go on a journey of discovery, learning Torah. I really connected to the Hebrew letters. I had no idea about Abulafia or anything about, Kabbalah or anything. I just kind of gravitated towards the simplicity of the Hebrew letters and prayer and learning, and it was only many years later after I had entered yeshiva in Jerusalem and gotten connected to Judaism that I was on my way to Italy, and I had a book by Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan called Meditation and Kabbalah, and he has a whole chapter based on Abulafia, and I started reading about this man who really much I felt mirrored my journey, obviously in a much more, there we go, show the crowd. Amazing book.
Yeah, let me show the crowd by saying hello. It'll flip the camera on the recording. So there's the book that he is referring to. Okay.
And it's a book about the history of Kabbalah, but he has an entire chapter dedicated just to Abulafia. And I started reading this, and it's to jog my memory. And when I was around that time, around 16, 17, when I started feeling this spiritual connection, I was having a lot of interesting dreams and experiences. And one of those dreams was at the end of the dream, I saw a book, and I'm telling you the truth. This is what I experienced. in the book, there was a book with the cover of it in Hebrew said, it said Sefer Hayashar, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but it's in Hebrew, Yashar. I remember looking it up. Yashar meant, I saw it meant loyalty or upright, or Yashar means like straight, and I thought nothing of it. And about 15 to 17 years later, when I read this book by R.A. Kaplan, he said that this man, Abulafia, wrote 22 books of Kabbalistic thinking, and he also wrote 26 books of prophecy, which meant ideas he kind of downloaded during meditative states. And the first book of prophecy he wrote in Patras, Greece in 1279 was Sefer Hayashar, the same book that I saw in my dream. So I said, wow, there's some connection here. And I went on this journey of understanding who Abulafia was, spent years learning about him, which led me to talk to Jason and to all of you tonight.
It's amazing. So is it right, though, that, Rabbi, that you actually physically went in some of the places where he had been before?
Yeah, so that kicked off a journey to want to document his life and to make a documentary, which we're in the midst of editing. And that took me last year on a trip with a friend of mine from Sweden. He came with me and we went through all the cities that Abulafia spent major time in, and including, he was hounded throughout his life. So he kind of traveled from Spain to Italy, to Sicily, to Malta. And we didn't do the Spain part, but we did Italy, Sicily, and finally Malta. So we really went to all the major cities and we kind of documented that trip. And we're in the midst of trying to put together that story.
So I want to get back to that story in a second, but would you be able to say maybe that you experienced this, that you've read all these works that they've done, right? You've had all these books, you see all the words, but then actually going where he was in person and sort of following that trail, there's some things that you just can't learn from a book. So having experienced it in real life, are there some different takeaways or maybe some other aspects that you took from it?
Might have frozen.
Yeah, I think
Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
There you are. You're back. Go. Did you hear the end of my question?
Like, I heard the beginning, which.
Oh no.
Of all nights.
I'll wait till he comes back.
Yeah, we might suggest that he go to phone, because even if the visual is off, we could still go by phone. So let's see if we can get that up and running. But I will say on that one topic that Abulafia was the first person to teach Kabbalah in public. So what Rabbi Bortz is referring to is a lot of pushback by the rabbis that this really shouldn't be taught to the public. It was esoteric and it could lead to things. And I think what he did was on net positive, but not directly from him, but from other people. Sometimes Kabbalah did go off the rails. And so the concern about Kabbalah certainly is well-founded. Not that I feel that was really Abulafia's problem, but there were rabbis that were very concerned. So, okay, very good. So we're back. And I think, Shoshana, to summarize your question was about the idea of, of just not there's things you just can't learn from books. So you must have gathered a lot of great information walking in those footsteps, Rabbi Bortz. I think he's going to have to switch to phone. Oh, that's disappointing.
Oh,
yeah. We did an audio check before, but let me just give him a text.
It happens.
Are you able to switch to phone by chance, Rabbi Bortz?
You know what? I switched to the right. I think the right Wi-Fi now. It should work better from now on.
Okay, go for it.
So I heard the beginning of the question, which was, can you just, Shoshana, can you just complete that question? I'm going to jump right in. Can you remind me?
Yeah. We were saying how you've read so many of these works and you can see the words, but there's really only so much that you can learn from a book. You've actually followed in the literal footsteps. So some things that you've taken away from physically being in those locations that maybe you couldn't experience just from the books.
Oh my goodness. When I walked up the steps to where for those who don't know, Abulafia was a very idealistic person. He felt that he had to go to the Pope, which at that time the Pope was everything. I mean, he led the entire Catholic world, which was a very strong thing in Europe. And the Pope said through messengers that if you come to me, I will burn you at the stake. They erected a stake, supposedly, according to Abulafia. And he said, you know what? I feel a calling to go anyways. And when I walked up that path to where the Pope's castle is outside of Rome. And I closed my eyes and I imagined what he was thinking, that I could die right now, but I'm going to go because I believe in this. It gives me a lot of strength. It gave me a lot of strength to go after my convictions, to know that, you know what, if I believe in something, I'm going to go for it. My danger is not his danger. His danger was life or death. My danger is maybe to be embarrassed or to. And then when I went to Camino, which was the last place we've heard of Abulafia, which is in Malta, funny enough, Camino, which is an island off Malta, is a party place in the summer. It's where people go to, which is not Abulafia at all. But when I sat on the edge of this beautiful island and I kind of meditated, which maybe we'll do at the end of our session today, I meditated on some of the teachings of Abulafia, and he had this it's beautiful. It's the water is pristine and the nature is incredible, and it's just empty rock of land. I just really felt like physically being there connected me to him more than just learning his teachings. To go to the places that these people went to is definitely another level, I would say. So thank God I was able to experience that.
Kind of amazing. Good. Okay, let's get back over to your production, this movie that you are making. Give us a little bit contextually what you're trying to put together. And then maybe at some point, if we have a clip, we might be able to show that too.
Yeah, I will try and find a clip I can show. For me, I wanted to simply put together, we're still in the editing process, but I wanted to be able to basically inspire others that are going on their own journey to kind of follow in Abulafia's footsteps. Because if you want to strip away all the kind of deeper ideas, Abulafia was simply a man who was in search of truth and in search of inspiring others to connect to God and to have an experience, a spiritual experience, instead of just kind of in the Jewish world, we're often learning about Jewish ideas and Torah, but he wanted people to actually experience a divine connection. And I think a lot of what he stood for is something that we can relate to now, whether you're religious, not religious. I think that desire to go after your dream and to go after what it is that sets your soul on fire is something that Abulafia can inspire in anybody, no matter what it is that you're going after. I think I want to tell that, I want to share that kind of energy that he was about and give that to people. So I think anybody could take something from learning about his story to their life. And I'm happy to share. Let me see if I can actually share my screen. Let's see if I have that ability.
Let me see if I can make you a co-host, and if not, I do have it up, but I think I can put you on as a co-host.
Okay.
And I don't think I have that ability. I think Rabbi Abi does, but I do have I have the video that you sent me earlier. Would that be something that you want to show?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember what I sent you, but feel free to show it and I can comment on what it is. And yeah.
Okay, great. Let's go with that. And I'm almost there on the share screen. Right here. Okay, and let me make this bigger.
So the opening scene is the documentary is a mixture of going to the places he lived, and also in New York we did an Abulafia meditation in class, and these are people in my class who are doing an Abulafia meditation, just so you know the opening of this clip.
Yeah, we'll see if the audio comes through, but just the visual itself is fantastic. Do you want to comment at this point, Rabbi Bortz?
Yeah, sure. Keep playing. The first scene we're going to do it at the end of this class, hopefully, if we have time, is Abulafia's meditation on the letter Aleph. And then, yeah, press play.
Go ahead. Yep.
And this is just our kind of some of our me arriving in Rome, in the Jewish quarter of Rome, which is very much intact. Abulafia lived in Italy for most of his life. And
it probably can't do audio and you talking at the same time, so I'll just let you comment.
You don't need audio, but you can press play and maybe I don't know if you're able to press play or forward a little bit.
I can go a little bit forward like
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I
sure,
think
go
when
ahead.
the video comes on, your audio gets broken up.
So this is Abulafia. This is the palace of the Pope, where in Soriano, north of Rome, where Abulafia visited. I
Okay,
can be quiet for a bit. Just press play, and I can comment after.
let's do that. Great.
And you can press audio if you want. This is actually an active volcano in Mount Etna, which is in Sicily. We had no idea it was an active volcano while I was praying the afternoon service, but that was a nice touch. Yeah, so maybe press pause. I think a lot of these shots, it's hard without context, but
yeah,
we basically retraced his footsteps, and we're trying to weave in his teachings. We're hiring somebody who can do the editing. If anybody wants to donate that is on the call, feel free to send us. But we're trying to get really good visuals of what his teachings were, along with retracing his footsteps and telling his story. And it's really the hero's journey. Each of us are on a journey to find the truth, to find what our unique individual connection and share that with the world. And that's, I think, what Abulafia represented. He found what inspired him, and he lived it out and tried to inspire as many people as he could with it.
Just from those shots, I want to go do that now. It's gorgeous and amazing. And then when you add like the spiritual factor into it, it's insane in such a fantastic way.
I love it. Yes.
How long did you spend filming and doing all of the shooting, and then to get to this point where you're at now?
It wasn't long. We spent no more than maybe 5 or 6 days, really rocket fire. We rented a car and we drove through Italy to Sicily. We took the car onto a ship that took us down to Sicily. And then we flew. I remember when we arrived in Malta, when Abulafia was really hounded, the Jewish establishment was not happy with him, and he was a renegade, and he had to escape to Malta ultimately. So we flew to Malta. The custom agent, she said, where are you planning on going? I said, well, we're going to go to Camino, which is an island off Malta. She said, how long do you have? I said, we're just the day. We're going to go and come back tonight. She said, that's impossible. So we did it. We took our suitcase, our luggage. We took a cab, a boat to Camino, which has 4 people. It's a very populous island. And yeah, it was just very inspiring to kind of, honestly, this project was from beginning to end. Whatever happens with the movie, it was a personal journey that I felt really just called to do. And I hope we can inspire some people with it. And yeah, there's something about retracing. You can talk about Jerusalem all you want. For example, when you go to the Western Wall, you feel the fire that is Jerusalem. And I felt the same way about retracing his footsteps.
So I think we all appreciate that aspect of it, and your film sounds amazing, and I'm super excited. I think we all want it to come together. So maybe you can also speak to the fact that we don't have to be exactly where he was, that our spirituality can travel with us, and that we can find these experiences and just about anything we look at using Abulafia's teachings to sort of as a guide. Can you speak to that at all?
Absolutely. What's beautiful, and I really, as a Hasidic kind of practitioner and student, I've kind of found a connection between the Baal Shem Tov, who was the founder of the Hasidic movement. His birthday was this past week on the 18th of Elul. And I really feel like many people in the Hasidic world don't talk about Abulafia, but I feel like his teachings kind of are connected to Sefer Yetzirah, which is rooted back to Rabbi Akiva or Avram Avinu, Abraham. And what's beautiful about that whole lineage is the power of the Hebrew letters. So even simply, as maybe we'll have some time to do hopefully in a minute, is each of us, through just connecting to Judaism on a basic level, taking the power of the sounds of the Hebrew letters and not getting too complicated, but just realizing this is a divine language, a way that God decided to create reality. The Torah says God said, let there be light. God said, let there be water. Divine speech, which is really just expression from a hidden realm to a revealed realm, we can also speak the Hebrew letters and connect back up to the source. And Rabbi Abulafia believed that we can kind of connect back up to the source simply through utilizing the power, which in English, the alphabet comes from the Hebrew Aleph Bet, that the power of the Hebrew letters is really rooted to the essence of all things. So yes, we all have the ability, without having to travel to Italy or Sicily, which you can do, to connect back up to God and to the root of all Jewish spirituality.
I love it. I think it's good to have those reminders. And you, Rabbi, transitioned us perfectly. Jason, he's talking about the Hebrew letters, and I know that you have your 4 letters and the power of sounds, and that's exactly what you talk about with your universal language room. Can you talk about that part of it, the universal aspect?
Sure. I want to say that, Shoshana, it feels like we go on the journey with Rabbi Bortz and kind of take the journey when we're talking about it. We had this with Howard Levy. He played us his music, and it was about a dream of him going to Spain. I really felt that I was there.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to have someone so dedicated to piecing Abulafia's life together in a way that, you just couldn't get from your house. And I think that, to your question, Shoshana, the thing that I'm attracted to with Abulafia is this idea that Rabbi Bortz mentioned with the letters, and that one of the challenges of monotheism is I don't have a way to pray with other people of other faiths. The prayer books are so different, the theologies can be so different. I don't have a way to pray. And, and the more like I got into the Hasidic world, the more at that time, maybe it's different, but the more it was culturally in its own world. And I couldn't feel a bridge to other groups like Sikhs or Muslims or so forth. So I was looking for a Kabbalah where I could pray with other people. And that's really what I can do with Abulafia. They understand letters. They have their scripts, whether it's Arabic or Punjabi or Gurmukhi script. And I say, well, take 4 of your letters and put in different order, and then do that while you think about 4 notes, and do combinations and permutations, and we'll talk. So I think, on this call, it's really exciting to hear and learn Rabbi Bortz's approach. And the thing that I took from the Sefer Yetzirah and Abulafia, which Abulafia, he went and taught Christians, he taught Muslims. I think when he went to see the Pope, whether it was a dream or whether it was real, that he was trying to explain to the Pope that there's a universalism behind religion. I think that was really his intent. People say it was to convert him, but I think they mean he convert him to a universal outlook, not convert him. I can't ever see Abulafia trying to do that. And so when I meet with Sikh and when I meet with Muslims, I meet with Christians, and we can pray and meditate and use a meditative system. It's really done something for me unique that I haven't seen other rabbis. And I wonder if Rabbi Bortz, you've seen something similar, or you felt that thing with the letters.
I saw somebody post recently in connection, maybe you shared it, where he said how much working with you, Nachshon's Leben, and how it's inspired him. I really do believe we're at a unique time in history where the Jewish people can actually connect to other religions, and we are never allowed to interact with the non-Jewish world, and we're finding so much common ground, so much connection. And I totally believe Abulafia he uses gematrias and other languages. I could give examples, but he really connects to showing and revealing godliness in all humanity and in all languages. I think that was a very unique aspect of him, which I really resonated with. When I was becoming a Baal Tshuva and connecting, I remember in the Chabad world, I said, I'm going to open up the first Chabad house for the non-Jewish world, meaning I'm going to create a space where we can all just connect, and we're supposed to be a light onto the nations, but we're so focused on kind of keeping our own people connected that we don't spend a lot of time with the outside world. And I feel like Abulafia totally was about, I agree with you 100%, that he was going to see the Pope. I don't agree with that version of conversion. I think he was, by the way, when I went to visit the Pope's residence and I told the man working there about the story of Abulafia, he's like, really? He was so fascinated. You never heard of it. I think he was trying to show the Pope the beauty of Kabbalistic teachings about connecting to God through the Hebrew letters, which I'm sure, if given the chance, the Christian world would have found fascinating, because I'm approached every day by Christians wanting to learn Hebrew and wanting to learn how to connect. Finding that common ground, 100%.
I would like to find common ground with the people on this chat here. Rabbi, if you would lead us in those women at the beginning of the video that we saw, that is what I want. I need that. So if you would please guide us through that, that would be fantastic.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So the first letter of Hebrew is the letter Aleph. And I was, just before this, I was randomly sitting, having drinks with a Hollywood celebrity whose name was Ashley. And I said, your name Ashley starts with an Aleph. And I was teaching her about the letter Aleph, and she was fascinated. The letter Aleph is very special. It is the first Hebrew letter. It is made up of a Vav, a Yud, and a Yud, which in Hebrew numbers is 26, which is God's name. In English, Aleph is Aluf. All the words in English that are connected to Aleph mean something, right? Like Aleph is Aluf, to be higher up. Even the animal, the elephant, Aleph means, in Hebrew, Aleph means to teach. A commander in Hebrew is Aluf, is a general. Aleph means 1,000, but it also means one. The letter Aleph, we can go on forever, but just know that we're going to pronounce the letter Aleph and know that it's, there we go. Know that the letter Aleph is a powerful word to enunciate. It actually, according to the mystics, includes everything. Even the further letters are really just many Alephs. So when you talk about the letter, let's say Yud, it's 10 Alephs. Aleph is within everything. Okay, having said all that, what I want to do for a little short meditation is we're going to pronounce the letter Aleph, which is the ah sound, the beginning of all sound. Any sound you make is rooted in Aleph. Even whatever sound you make is rooted in the first ability to say ah, o, e, u. That's the beginning of sound. So Abulafia's big traditional teaching that he brought down from the earlier mystics was that we can actually move our bodies in the direction of the vowels. So unlike English and other languages where we have vowels after the letter, like A, O, E, I, U, in Hebrew, the vowels are either underneath, above, or in between the letters. So we have, if you want to make the sound O, you have a dot above the Aleph. If you want to make the sound E, you have a dot below the Aleph. If you want to make the sound U, you have a dot in between the letter Aleph. And Abulafia said, it's not enough to think about it in your mind. We have to move our bodies in the direction of the vowels. And we can start to kind of feel and integrate, yeah, bottom right in the blue, or for example. You can see we're going to do now an exercise where on the top left is the sound E, where it's below the Aleph. When we pronounce the E sound, we're actually going to move our heads downward in the direction of the vowel. If you look on the second line, first square, you'll see the U. When we say U, we're going to move our heads forward in the direction of the dot that is in front of the Aleph. And on the bottom right, when we say the O sound, the dot is above the letter. We are going to move our heads upward in the direction of the O. Okay? So those are the three sounds we're going to make. We're going to make O, U, and E. Everybody ready? Okay. So just kind of follow my lead. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. And let's just take a couple deep breaths in through the nose. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Let's do 2 more luxurious deep breaths in. Enjoy those breaths. Deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. And 1 more deep breath in through the nose. Into your belly, into your chest. Take in more air. And out through the mouth. And I want you to kind of feel any tension in your body and just relax it. Maybe it's in your shoulders, even in areas that you're not so aware of there being tension, like your cheekbones. Relax your jaws. Relax your eyelids. Relax your forehead. Relax your fingers and toes. And for the first sound that I want us to do together, we're going to do the letter Aleph with the dot above the Aleph. And that sound is O. And I want you to realize that letters of Hebrew or any letters are like bodies without a soul. Your voice, your sounding the letters is the soul to the body. A body can only move with a soul giving life to it. And letters on a paper or letters in general are dead without you giving life to them with your voice. You're bringing life to these letters. And the first sound we're going to make is the O sound. And when you make the O sound, I want you to realize the vowel is above the Aleph. So you're going to move your head slowly up towards the heavens, towards the sky. And maybe while you do so, you can think about how much there is for us to learn, how much more there is in existence that transcends us. You know, they say there's what we know, there's what we don't know, and then there's what we don't know we don't know. We're not even aware of some aspects of reality that far transcend anywhere that the greatest human mind could ever hope to reach. So on 3, we're going to say O, and we're going to move our head slowly upwards as we pronounce it. Okay? On 3, O. 1, 2, 3. You can slowly bring your head back to center. And for the next one, we're going to pronounce the E sound, which is the dot below the letter Aleph. And because it's below the letter Aleph, we're going to move our heads the opposite. We're going to move it down to the ground. And instead of thinking about connecting to the transcendent, the E sound is more about humility. It's about moving our head downwards, submitting ourselves to the idea that we're limited. Now, there's so much more for us to learn, to grow into, to realize that we're limited. And it's a beautiful thing when a human being who is full of ego can acknowledge that we really don't know so much, and we're open to learning. We're open to receiving blessing from above and receive new light into, we're willing to empty our vessel and to fill that vessel. So on 3, we're going to say E and slowly move our head downwards as we pronounce it, opening ourselves up to whatever God has in store for us. 1, 2, 3. Can bring your head back to center. And for this final sound, it's the U sound, which is the dot in the middle. We're going to move our head simply straight forward as we pronounce this sound. And what I like to think about is, you know that famous painting from, I believe, Michelangelo, or where God is aiming his finger towards man, towards Adam, and Adam is aiming his finger to touch God, and they're not touching fully. And we move towards the transcendent, towards the infinite, to touch, to connect our soul to our source. It's what we do when we pray. The high holidays are coming up. We're trying simply as mortal beings to connect to something more, to our destiny. So when we make the U sound together, we're going to move our heads forward towards Hashem, towards the transcendent, and with prayers to connect to something more. On 3, the U sound, moving our head forward. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. And Rabbi Chaim Vital, who lived a few hundred years after Abulafia, he talked about not just verbalizing the letters, but imagining and visualizing the letters. And he said, visualize the letter Aleph that we just pronounced. Visualize it as black fire on white fire. Just like we write on a Torah scroll or on a mezuzah, black lettering on white parchment, you can visualize the Hebrew letter as a black fiery letter on top of a white fiery parchment. And just kind of connect to the power of the Hebrew letters. These otherworldly divine gifts. And let's just close out this meditation with a final pronunciation of the letter Aleph. Let's go back to the first one with the dot above the Aleph. And let's just open up ourselves to something greater and ask the divine infinite to guide us on our path to realizing what we're meant to be doing, what we're called to do. And we're going to make the O sound together on 3. Again, opening up our heads, looking up to the sky as we say it. 1, 2, and 3. May God bless us all to follow in Abulafia's footsteps, to go after what we're meant to be going after, and to realize our soul's journey on earth, and to find the beauty and the wisdom within our Jewish teachings, within a loving, warm community like we have tonight. We should all support each other and continue to nurture our growth together. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly come back to the Zoom and slowly open your eyes.
Rabbi Daniel Bortz, I am so happy you have ended us on this Monday that way. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent.
Jason, before we wrap up, and Rabbi, I appreciate that it's simple yet so effective. Sorry, Jason, I just had this thought and I wanted it to continue.
Go.
That now we can take this with us and recreate it and whenever we need to. And that makes me super happy. Thank you for sharing that with us. Jason, tell us before we really wrap up about the app that we were talking about.
Oh, I was just saying that there's all kinds of just apps or really just full applications of what the rabbi is talking about. By the way, I just want to say I'd seen the video before that everyone just saw on this, and I thought I'd really love to experience it. So thank you, Rabbi Bortz, for leading us. People say many times, "Oh, Abulafia's Kabbalah is so high, it's so deep," and I said, I don't know. I think I could have coffee with him. He didn't seem that aloof to me. And when you can say O and E and move, and this is very new for me. I always do the music, and I thought I'd love to hear something different. And I hadn't heard this. Is fantastic. So I think just tying it all together is with those long tones. A lot of times a saxophone player will start with a long tone for their notes. And if everyone, as they join these calls, have heard about the music, it's really just from what Rabbi Bortz is doing. I thought to myself, I do that just in a little bit faster speed, being used to it. So I say O E A E, Aleph Beit Gimel Dal would be Abba Gida, Abba Dagi, and go through the letters that way. So it's very cool for me to learn and internalize an application of slowing it all down, even for myself as a musician, and teaching that to people and saying, even 4 notes, let's just make it 1 note. Let's just make it 1 Aleph. That is such a fantastic lesson for tonight. So I really thank you. So I wanted to also mention, Rabbi Bortz, I brought up your website, and I just want to say it correctly for everybody. And I lost it. Can you tell us your website so people can find you?
Yeah, my name, Rabbi Bortz, BORTZ.com, or millennialrabbi.com. It's a nickname I got, Millennial Rabbi, 2 L's, 2 N's. It takes you to my website. Social media is there as well. And
don't make me spell millennial on a Friday.
You spelled it perfectly. You spelled it perfectly.
I got that one right. Millennial is millennial. Oh no.
It's a hard word to spell. Also, this begs the question, if I could be so forward, Rabbi, how old are you?
I am 36.
Okay. That's pretty amazing that you've been able to pack that much information into your brain and then share it with all of the people in such a short time.
You know what? When you're, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys and what you're doing and opening up the Jewish world. We're so thinking like our leadership was this kind of like Judaism is like black. I used to wear the black hat and the black jacket only, and it comes across as this kind of, but our leadership throughout history was fascinating and on a journey. Abulafia was going from island to island, teaching transcendental methods on a journey of self-discovery. Like our history is so rich and so colorful and so unique and so individual. And you guys are continuing that legacy by doing stuff like this and having us on, and music, especially to me, is the key to everything, Jason, that the prophets used to ask to have people play music next to them when they would try to reach levels of prophecy. You had to be joyful, and you had to be, you had to have music, and you had to utilize nature. And I think these are things we can use today in 2022 to help us as we get to the high holidays, really tap into our amazing souls and the richness of Jewish teachings, and make Abulafia proud in our time.
Beautifully said. I do want to emphasize it is so rewarding to me that I went through the phase myself, and it doesn't have to be a phase. Just for me, it was a phase of having the black hat and the black everything and trying to get inside the program, and it didn't fit for me, and it fits for others. Great. There's really no value assigned to that, but I know a lot of people are looking for an Orthodox Kabbalistic Judaism that doesn't have any preconceived presets, and it's really cool to say, here are the tools, and I don't expect you to do anything else other than connect to God. And this message is so fascinating to me. And I think a little bit of it is getting away from the Holocaust and tremendous assimilation and feeling a little bit more stable. And then just the blessing of being Baal Tshuva, not growing up with some of the baggage and coming in and then saying, well, I feel like Moshe, in the sense, like I kind of grew up a Virginian and Philadelphian, and I kind of grew up in the Jewish world, and I was in both worlds, so I just had to pick my own. So let me say thank yous for everybody on the call. So first, thank you, Rabbi Daniel Bortz. Just fascinating insight into your inner journey and outer journey, and you're a true adventurer, and we have benefited so much from you. Shoshana Sanker, as always, just made this the great experience that it is by leading us and coordinating it. I think Dan and I would just be looking at each other going, well, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So you really made it in-depth and intellectual and fun. Rabbi Abi, thank you for your support, Memphis Jewish Community Center. And I would be remiss without saying Bracha, who's on this call, was the one who introduced us. So I think there was a Clubhouse spiritual group on Clubhouse, and then she said, you have to meet Rabbi Daniel Bortz. And I said,
want you to know that this is alive and well. I met Bracha. We went to Miami to someone's home outdoors along the bay, and we did an Abulafia meditation, as we just did together, with people that had never experienced much, and we're bringing it to life today. People are thirsty for connection, and it's happening.
It is really happening, and it's just with great courageous people who will fly out to them in Miami, or you're doing this in New York and other places and making a movie. So. And this Beit Abulafia is from the generous donors like yourself, everybody on this call, through the Bridge Institute. Our website is ulr1.com. I'll put that in the chat. You have Rabbi Bortz's email, so please consider supporting him and the movie. There was a question, where can we see the movie? It is under wraps as the project is coming through, so it's unlisted right now. But with your support, it'll be out faster. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, amen.
Amen, amen. So there's the website for the Bridge Institute. I do want to thank my brother for coming, Gabriel and Avram. Both brothers came. That's so awesome. My mom and dad. And Belina, Bracha, Alba, Coventry is so great to connect with you. And we had a friend who just joined, Scott Reed. And Scott, if you'd like to remain in touch, I'm so glad you joined. So thanks, everybody. We would love to talk with everybody more. We try to keep this to 45 to 50 minutes to be appreciative of your time. So Rabbi Bortz, I think Shoshana, if you have any concluding thoughts, I'll let Rabbi Bortz conclude.
No, just similar. Just so grateful, Rabbi, for you to join us and for the JCC to help us out, and Jason, for you to have these beautiful ideas and bring all of us together for such special moments. It's wonderful. So thanks, everybody, and Shana Tova.
And Shana Tova, everybody. Just in conclusion, what I took from my journey so far in Abulafia is seek truth, whatever it takes. If you have to go alone, you have to travel, seek truth, find truth, what speaks to your soul. When you find that thing that's helped you so much, share it with others. Like, help others have authentic, powerful experiences if you've found something that speaks to you. Realize that Judaism and its leadership are colorful, open-minded, adventurous, more worldly than we think, and our history is rich. And finally, have the courage to carry out your mission, no matter how it seems weird or different. I heard a quote that said, stop asking those who have never been where you're going for directions. So each of you, I know for you, Jason, for sure, Shoshana, I have a feeling, and everybody on this call, you've got your own journey. And yes, get advice and seek in with friends, but ultimately, you're going to have to see it out and see where it goes and share it with us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rabbi Bortz. Thank you, Shoshana. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Lashana Tova to everyone. May it be a sweet new year.